Okay, I think I'll get started with a few announcements. And then we'll introduce our speakers for today. First of all, thank you everybody for joining us virtually for coffee today. I hope you all have your award-winning coffee mugs ready to display later in the call, because we will be giving out a Focus Suite and Perk Up Thursday coffee mug, limited edition, to the winner who has the, really it's my whim who wins. So I really can't tell you what the criteria is, but if you have a mug that catches my attention, you could be the winner of a brand new mug. So thank you for being here today. A few announcements. Next week's speaker will be Carmen Schwab with Carmen Schwab Consulting. Carmen has a very good presence on the internet and social media, and she's a very good speaker, and so we look forward to having her next week. And I believe her topic will be emotional intelligence and why that is so important in our current situation. And we have speakers lined up for the next 3 weeks after that. So we're really excited about the people we've got coming on and the messages they have to share. Also, if you are a guest on this or you're a first-time attendee of our Perk Up Thursday coffee, and you're not getting our email newsletter, look me up on LinkedIn, Steve Boers. Shoot me a message or email me at sboers@southeast.edu, and I will get you signed up for our email newsletter. That will keep you up to date on upcoming speakers, upcoming events at the center, and it arrives every Monday in your email inbox. With that, I am delighted to introduce our speakers for today, Brooke Lenhoff and Leverett. They are both teammates of mine at the Focus Suites at SEC. I'm very proud of what they've accomplished during these strange times we're navigating through. They're both working from home, as am I, but they have gotten a heck of a lot done. Our services have continued to be delivered to our constituents without interruption, thanks to their efforts. They've rolled out some new packages of services that you can look at on our website, and they just do an all-around great job, and both very creative at that. So thank you to Brooke and to Kat, and at that, I'm going to turn it over to them.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We're happy you're all here. 1 second, I gotta switch off my camera here. All right, so today we want to share with you some material that I was privileged to learn about 8 years ago through a grant that the college received. It was a partnership with a group called, oh shoot, I can't even think of the group, but the training was called Leadership Now, and it was a partnership that combined this leadership training and a certified Gallup strengths coach to put together this package. And Kat and I just really fell in love with this material, and we want to share it with you today. So here we go. There we go. So I'm, like Steve said, I'm Brooke Lenhoff. I'm the assistant director here at the Focus Suites. I've been with the college. This is my 15th year here, and I have had the privilege of working with hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs like yourselves, and it's just really exciting to be here, and I'll let Kat introduce herself.
I'm Kat Leverett, and I'm one of the business coaches here. This makes my 10th year of working at the Entrepreneurship Center, and before that I went to school at SEC as a non-traditional student, and my goal when I started school was to be at the Entrepreneurship Center. And so this is part of my vision, is doing this work that we do with entrepreneurs at the center. So welcome.
Okay, so our topic today is leadership. And to start, I want to make sure that we all are talking about the same definition of leadership. There are multiple definitions, but we're going to work off of this one. And this was really profound to me when I was first learning it, that leadership is a relationship. I don't know about you all, but I don't know that I, in my lifetime, have necessarily thought of myself as a leader. And when I learned about leadership through this framework, I really was able to embrace it. And when I realized that leadership is a relationship and not a title or a position or part of a hierarchy, that was really kind of life-changing for me. And we're going to go through the 5 exemplary practices of leadership. And I hope that each of you are able to identify with at least one of these, because we think that each and every one of you are leaders. Because first of all, you wouldn't even be attending this virtual coffee if you weren't a leader. You wouldn't be attempting to start your own businesses. You wouldn't be running your own businesses, or you wouldn't be in roles within other people's businesses. Maybe you don't own your business, but you have a role that requires you to be innovative and creative, and that in and of itself makes you a leader. And so it's a relationship. And what that means is that it's a relationship between those who lead and those who choose to be led, which is a voluntary position. You go into that of your own free will with an understanding that there's going to be hard work involved and potential risk, and that you're going to do things together that you might not have otherwise been able to get done. And it's within that relationship where trust and respect and creativity live. And when those things can coexist, that's where leadership and leaders emerge.
So, as Brooke said, when we think of leader, or we think of the role of leadership, sometimes we think about managers, and we want to make a little bit of a distinction here. And this material was written by James Kouzes and Barry Posner. They've been doing leadership research since 1982, and they've put together these materials based on leaders that they discovered. They were ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And that's the context that we find ourselves in daily. But when you look at the differences in the leaders and managers, leaders manage and managers lead, but they're not synonymous. Leaders innovate, managers administer. Leaders develop, managers maintain. Leaders have a long-term view. Managers need to have a short-term view. Leaders ask what and why. Managers how and when. Leaders originate. Managers initiate. Leaders challenge the status quo. Managers maintain the status quo. Leaders do the right things, and managers do things right. When I began to first look at this material, there was part of me really that wanted to resist managerial tasks when I came to Southeast Community College. In my past career, I'd had lots and lots of responsibility, management responsibility, managing marketing budgets, managing accounts. And so the thing that I did not want to do because of my life plan and the season that I was in my life, I didn't want to take on large responsibilities as a manager. But as a leader, I find that it's just a part of who I am. Go ahead, Brooke.
Okay. So these, what you have in front of you right now, these are the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. And like Kat said, these are based on Cousins and Posner's research. And the way that we were able to learn about it was through a grant through the skills group, which I couldn't think of at the beginning, but that's what it was, the skills group. And these, we're going to go through each one. There's 5 practices, and then embedded within these 5 practices are 10 commitments. So to each, that great leaders or exemplary leaders exhibit these qualities. So the first one is model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. And we're going to go through each one quickly, and I really hope that you are intrigued enough to learn more after this coffee. So the first exemplary practice is model the way. And what that means is that leaders who model the way, they know what their voice is. They have found their voice and they use it. And they set the example. They align what they do with what they believe. And so to me, what that means is that leaders are going to be in the trenches with you. They're going to walk the walk. So they're going to do what they say that they're going to do, and they're going to show you what they value. And they don't necessarily have to tell you what they value. You're just going to be able to see what their values are by what their actions are. And whether you're working with teammates or you're modeling the way for employees, if you have employees, or if you're modeling the way for customers, how you want your customers to view you, you're going to show them by your actions. So you're going to model that. You're going to model your values, and you're going to model how you want others to view you. And especially if you're leading a team or if you're leading employees, you're not going to ask them to do anything that you yourself are not willing to do. So you're going to walk the walk and model the way for your employees, teammates, or customers.
All right. The second exemplary practice is to envision the future and to enlist others in a common vision. In my experience, and you guys have heard us talk about the Gallup Strength Finders and how we love that tool. One of my strengths that I have is ideation. Another strength that I have is positivity. And another strength that I have is connectedness. When we meet an entrepreneur, they have a vision for their business, but I have a vision for the entrepreneur. And when I meet someone and they tell me what their dream and goal is, because of my past experience and because of the culture and the environment in which we find ourselves, then I can envision a wonderful future for every entrepreneur. It's just part of my personality. It's part of me connecting with the vision at the center. When I came in, the vision statement and the mission statement was to support the entrepreneurial spirit in people of every age. And so that is an exciting thing for me to imagine, that anyone in Lincoln or in our 15 county area that we serve, if they're interested in building a business, if they're interested in talking about building a business, if they have an idea that just keeps bumping around in their head, then I feel happy to step to the side of them and tell them they're in the right place, because the community that we have a vision that the city of Lincoln is we're full of leaders, we're full of entrepreneurs, and we want to bring new entrepreneurs or people that are just hearing about us. We want to bring them into our community and share our vision with them. By sharing our community and what we've accomplished, it's not hard to imagine a vision for an entrepreneur, to see how they're going to grow and how they're going to develop their systems, and then perhaps they might beat the odds and have a successful vision. To enlist others in a common vision, we appeal to everyone's shared dreams. We have to have a dream in order to move forward. And so when we hear each other's dreams, to respect that and to not shut each other down, and have enthusiasm that even if this moment isn't the picture of your dream, we can be enthusiastic to know that we can accomplish what we set our minds to accomplish. We can find tools that will help us build what we want to build. If we have a strong enough vision and enough people are enthusiastic about the same vision, then we can move forward together. All right, I'm going to try to forward this screen. Brooke, will you forward it? Because it's not moving for me.
It's actually not letting me forward it either because it says I'm waiting for you.
Okay, well, let's see.
There we go. Got it. Okay.
Okay, great. This one's yours.
Challenge the process. So this is one of my favorite of the 5. And when I very first heard it and I heard challenge the process, I immediately thought of all of the entrepreneurs that I work with who are disruptors, who challenge authority, who question things. And then when I really started to learn more about this framework, I realized that the word challenge is not adversarial. What it means is it's inquisitive. So leaders who challenge the process are doing so in a way that they are open to new opportunities, that they are searching out new ways of doing things. They are, they're open to that, and that excites them. And that it's not necessarily, they do it in a respectful way. Okay, so we're searching out opportunities. We're willing to experiment. Things are done a certain way, and that's great. We have a high respect for that. But we're also open to, okay, well, what if we could do it a different way? What if there's a new opportunity to do things? And that is really exciting to me. One of my top strengths, well, my number one strength is activator. And so what that means is that I find a lot of energy within hearing an idea, whether it's my own or somebody else's, and taking that idea and translating it into action. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out every time, but I like to experiment and to take calculated risks. That is exciting to me, and that is part of leadership, is that, okay, we don't know if this way of doing something is going to work, but let's try it, and let's encourage others to try it, and let's make change positive, because change is scary and change is risky. But it doesn't have to be so scary, and it doesn't have to be so risky. We can encourage each other and support each other and just try. And if it doesn't work, then we can go back to the way that we know it did work. And so this one in particular just really speaks to me and to my strengths. And I hope that all of you can can kind of embrace that too. That right now, I mean, we're in a time of a lot of change and a lot of uncertainty, and seek out the opportunities where you can challenge the process.
Okay, so we've talked about modeling the way. We've talked about inspiring a shared vision. We've talked about challenging the process. And boy, aren't we in a time that is challenging all of our processes. And now we're coming to the fourth practice, and that is enabling others to act. To me, when I think about this, I think about it feels like a very large thing to be able to say that you can enable others to act. And what is it that makes us move? What is it that makes us take a step away from our desk and go and do something different? Collaboration is something that happens when you have a grand dream. You know, we have the dream that we have in the focus suites. We have 20 businesses there. We have 20 businesses that are growing, and we can educate them. We can support them. Some days we inspire them. We build trust and relationships. When we're there, you guys show up every week at coffee. A lot of you are just faithful attenders. If someone in our community has just the need to vent or to talk about something, then they know that on Thursday morning, they're going to meet a sweet friend and they're going to be able to share something with them. We know that our vision at Focus Suites is we want to create a win-win-win opportunity. If I can win by using my strengths to encourage you to win, the school is winning, the community is winning. So we build relationships and we build trust by physically being there and with the words that we speak. And you'll find that leaders that you're naturally gravitating toward, they'll speak in the we instead of the I. And one of my favorite things is an old saying, team together, everyone achieves more. But I really, really believe it, because the visions that we have, we cannot accomplish by ourselves. There's not a business owner that can do their business by themselves. The day that I hear a business owner sigh and say, well, Kat, I just can't do everything. So they go out and they're hiring an attorney. They'll go out, they'll hire an accountant. Those are the days that I feel super positive, because I know if they're beginning to trust people, then they're having collaboration happen, and that is going to strengthen their chances of survival. So within our community, look for opportunities that you find to encourage people, enable others to act, to take the step forward. We get frozen, we get scared, but when we have relationships and we can trust the people around us, then that helps us to be uncomfortable. We can be out of our comfort zone, but still be safe. And that's what our community, that's one of the things we want to create, is that people can move beyond their comfort zone. They can feel very uncomfortable, but they're not in danger. They're safe. So that's one of the ways that we want to encourage one another, is help each other to act.
I think where another thing I want to add about enabling others to act is, for me, this is where, and a lot of you have heard of this, servant leadership comes into play. Leaders where they really thrive and where the teams that they work with really thrive is when, as a leader, you embrace the idea that if those around you are succeeding and if you are setting them up for success and they're succeeding, then everybody is succeeding. And if we can embody that, then that's where we're going to have lasting, successful relationships. If we don't care who takes the credit, and if we really just all have the mentality that if you win, I win, we all win, and it's my job as a leader or as your manager or whatever, it's my job to make sure that I have set you up for success and have given you the tools and the encouragement and inspiration for you to work within your strengths, and I'm going to work within my strengths. We're all going to be better because of that. And if you can have that attitude, then that makes you a really exemplary leader.
All right. Can you forward me, Brooke, or no? All right.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay. I was resisting this material really well, and I was really thinking, no, this doesn't apply to me. And then when I hit on the 5th practice, then my mind changed, because throughout my lifetime, I have known that part of my talent was to be able to encourage the heart. And this material was so valuable to me because when I was thinking of the responsibility of a leader, I was thinking about spreadsheets, I was thinking about data, I was thinking about accountability. But then when I saw this encourage the heart, I thought, this is what I want to do. This is who I am and what I do naturally. And the way that we encourage the heart, that's not rocket science. We recognize people's contributions. We recognize it when someone smiles at us. When I'm in the office and someone says, "How are you today?" and I know that they really mean it. And then also we celebrate. We celebrate as a community those things that other people are accomplishing. As Brooke said, if I'm winning, you're winning. If you're winning, I'm winning. My mentors taught me that there's always a big enough pie for everybody, that we don't have to worry about this person is taking my business. I don't want them to succeed because that means I'm succeeding less. We want to celebrate each person's victories. And, I think we all say, well, how do you do this if you don't have a budget or if you don't have this or that? Or even in these times when we're not together, that's where creativity comes in. We have to do things thoughtfully. We have to do things creatively. The more money you have, sometimes it feels like the less creative you have to be. I challenge anyone that says we don't have any money. I think you could think of a way to celebrate someone without it costing a thing, especially with our different pieces of technology and all the fun apps that we have and stuff. So this is probably where I rest the most in my leadership. This is where I feel most in tune and most called. And something that you guys may have noticed in our branding, focus suites, do business for real. We know that at some point people they're just creating cash flow, or they're testing and they're doing an idea. But there comes a point to where they're really ready to do business. They're really ready to build the infrastructure to create growth. And so when that happens, that's where we are. And we are encouraging that entrepreneur not to just work in their business, but to work on their business. And that is a huge challenge. The more you grow, the more difficult it is. So we hope that people, when they come, that we'll get 3 years to work with them. We'll get 3 years to celebrate their values and embrace them in our community so that they have a solid foundation and that they've seen leadership. And the thing that is so amazing to me, y'all, is that when you understand and see these type of leadership traits, you begin to see them in yourselves. And sometimes it's surprising. And then you begin to see them in your friends, and even encouraging your friends to say, man, you just don't even know how much it meant to me for you to do this simple thing or to say this simple thing. And so this type of leadership, as Brooke says, we're all involved in it in some way or another. So I hope you will embrace these 5 characteristics that we've shared with you today.
And with encouraging the heart, I think it's just, well, not just it's really important that when you do recognize the contributions of others and you are celebrating them, that you are genuine in it. Mm-hmm. When given the opportunity to recognize your teammates or those around you and not recognize something, then you should always take the opportunity to recognize it. But to really be exemplary is to mean it. And that sometimes makes you vulnerable.
Yes.
And that vulnerability, that's where the leadership lies, is when you're really vulnerable and you're really genuine and you acknowledge that not only somebody around you did a good job and you want to congratulate them for it, but to show them that you understand why you think it was a good job. Mm-hmm. That has really profound effects that I think that we oftentimes underestimate. Or sometimes even the littlest things that we recognize in others, we might think, oh, this isn't going to be a big deal, but to the other person, it has a really large impact. And I think that oftentimes we minimize what that can mean to somebody else. And I don't know the exact quote, but something that from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood said, like, in times like these, you look for the helpers, mm-hmm. and there's always somebody helping. And those helpers, those are leaders. Those are people that are encouraging the heart. And so look for the helpers around you right now, because there's a lot of them in our community, and those are leaders. And most likely, I bet you are among those leaders.
I agree. And so next, we want to share with you guys, there we go, something that we've created that we hope will help you to carry on. We hope that it will encourage you. We have some exciting opportunities for us, and we want to share this new carry-on menu. This is our curbside service and our response to the crisis. One of the exciting things that we want to offer is a virtual membership to the suites. Having an office at the suites, that's sort of the tip of the iceberg, but the community experience is valuable. Being able to share these type of meetings and get on social events that we share with our suite business owners. We want to invite you guys to join us for that. We're going to offer this membership free for the next 2 months. It's typically a $30 a month value, but if you would like to sign up to be a virtual member, then shoot Brooke or I an email. The next opportunity that we have, looking down our menu, is free coaching. Many of you have met with us for focus coaching. The very first session of focus coaching, we go over our clients' Gallup strengths. And so we want to encourage you, if you already have your top 5 Gallup strengths, we would love to coach you about how to thrive during this time using your strengths. You know, we can't say when this challenging time will end, but we know if we're working through it using our strengths, then we're going to all be better by the time it's coming to its close. So Brooke and our emails are listed here. If you know your top 5 Gallup strengths and you would like to have a coaching session, just send Brooke or I an email with your top 5 strengths, and we'll get you on the calendar for a coaching session about that. Then afterwards, if you are interested in finishing up the series of our focus coaching, then we're going to reduce that cost to $100. So just send us an email if you're interested in that, and we will tell you all the details. It's also on our website. So you can find the details on the website at southeast.edu/entrepreneurship. Of course, we have our virtual coffee every week, so that's part of our menu always. Then also our virtual learning. We have the YouTube channel that's free that people can access to see all of our spotlight speakers. We also have on the YouTube channel, if you have not checked it out, our favorite tools that we use during focus coaching. And then we also have some other webinars that have been done earlier in the month that respond to these current events that we're in right now. So we want to enlist our community right here. You've been so good and awesome on Facebook to be passing on information about Doorstep Diner and Chef au Chef and all of the restaurants that have had curbside pickup menu service. And so this is the Focus Suites menu of carry-on services, and we hope you guys will work with us and get the word out to the community that we are here to help people grow. We're here to help people survive and thrive through this time and beyond. This isn't going to last forever. The panic isn't going to last forever. And let's move on to growth and not identify ourselves with this crisis forever. So I think with that, we are open for questions about our menu or any of the leadership materials that we've been sharing.
Yes, I'm gonna stop this share so we can see each other's faces here.
Oh,
there we go.
I just have a comment, if I may. First of all, this is great topics. This is wonderful stuff. Is this something that you can email me, the PowerPoint or whatever you have here?
Yes.
I'd appreciate that. And secondly, given the challenging times or whatever adjective that we want to use for these times, I chose the PG adjective. But anyway, I want to thank Steve and Brooke and Kat. You guys, besides the creativity under these times, it's just been great. And I just want to throw that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, Doug. You're a valued member of our community. And
that means I'm just old.
We are several of us in that club too. Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions for Kat or Brooke?
Yeah, I was trying to post a little meme in the chat there. I don't know if you, apparently it was the address and not the meme itself. And it didn't come across as a link, but and it's very lengthy, but if you copy and paste that into your browser and just scroll down a little bit, there's an awesome meme that I always consider when I talk about leadership. So take a look at that.
Oh, great.
Thanks, Vaughn.
You bet.
I'd like to comment on Brooke. I don't know. I'd like to comment on Brooke's comment about servant leadership because it ties back into the other piece about trust. And the reality factor is if you're trying to get others buy-in, you have to establish trust. And there's a great book out there called The Speed of Trust. If any of you read it, it's excellent. And to be able to move a vision forward, you have to have that trust and buy-in. The other thing that makes a great servant leader to me is being a great listener. And you don't establish that trust until you become a good listener and ask the whys. I made a note when you're talking about encouraging in the heart, and instead of just saying you're doing a good job or thanks for your input, one of the other things that I use, and it's part of asking questions too, as well as listening, is saying, so what did you gain from this, or how did you grow in that process? And so to me, and through that, and having them respond, it's also, you talk about being a servant leader, you're trying to develop others, you find out where they're at. So anyway, that's well done. It was a good presentation, but it really is true developing of other. We should be always trying to, I've done a lot with strategic planning. As a leader, from the day one, you should be not only just leading, but you should begin to identify who are your successors. My friend Ron Eklund from HBE, when I first started with Leadership Resources, I may have mentioned this, I asked him, how soon after you start your business should you be thinking about building a succession plan? And his answer was, the day you open your door. And so that's a mindset of leadership, and servant leadership. Anyway.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, Blake, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question for both of you, out of curiosity. So, with your knowledge and background with the Gallup Strength Finder, I'm wondering if you've seen research or experiences where are there particular strengths that seem to equip folks the best for challenging times like this and resiliency in times like this? I mean, a few of them would be obvious by name, but I'm just wondering if you look at the profile of leaders who come out on top, or just individuals who come out on top, so to speak, in times like this, what does that look like within the context of the Strengths Finder?
Go ahead, Brooke.
I'll take this first. We get questions like this often, similar questions like, what are the best types, or what are the best strengths for X, Y, Z? And my answer is always, and this is my personal opinion, this isn't Gallup's research. My personal opinion is that the best strength for any given situation is if you are using your talent. So when we take the Gallup Strengths Finder assessment, we're given our top 5 strengths. And really what that means is these are our top 5 talents. These are the characteristics that are natural to us, that are unchanging. These are just true to ourselves, right? And we can take those talents and we can use them and invest in them, and they become strengths. But also inherent in those talents are vulnerabilities or barriers that get in the way of us using these talents as strengths. So my answer to that is the ones that are most successful are the people who are able to take their talents, their top 5 talents, and use them as strengths and manage the vulnerable side of that naturally puts up barriers. So whatever your top 5 talents are, if you are investing in yourself and able to take those talents and use them to move forward and to keep growing, then that's what's going to lead you to success, no matter what is in your top 5.
And I would add, we have the same theory really about the talent themes. You might naturally think that, oh, someone that has responsibility or focus or discipline, you might think positivity, you might think that those people would be the most resilient. But in those strengths, the vulnerabilities of what we call going into the basement as composed to rising onto the balcony. If someone that is disciplined goes in their basement, then they're going to be rigid. They're going to be rigid. They're not going to be able to move from their schedule or the thing that they had planned to do. Something that like ideation, I have ideation, and a lot of people connect that to being a dreamer. Well, how does a dreamer, how did they respond in a time of crisis? Well, if I were in my basement, I would just be dreaming, and perhaps hiding away. But if I'm using that strength or using that talent in my balcony, then I can connect with Brooke and I can dream with Brooke. I can ideate with Brooke. And then I know that Brooke has activator. If she hears the right idea, boom, then we have action. So as Brooke said, identifying your top talent themes in the 34, those are just ways to have self-awareness. There is a way for every talent theme and every strength to be successful with that self-awareness. Does that answer your question, Blake?
It does, particularly at the end where you tied in the self-awareness. I was going to ask you as a follow-up, but thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for those great questions. Again, thank you for being here at Coffee. It is now time for our official coffee mug giveaway. So hoist those mugs up and let's see what you got.
Disinfecting wipes.
Interesting.
Very, very cleansing.
Interesting. Boy, this is going to be tough. Oh, boy. You know, I don't know anybody that's probably more in need of disinfecting wipes than Doug, so I think we're going to give the winning mug to Doug Hancock today.
Oh, my gosh.
He's been wanting that mug for a long time, so Doug, it's yours.
Thank you.
Thank you all contestants. Next week will be Carmen Schwab with Carmen Schwab Consulting, and she'll be talking about the need in these trying times for emotional intelligence. The week after that, we have Brett Stows with the Weibling Entrepreneurship Center at UNL, and there's Brett waving. Then Stacy Eldridge with Silicon Prairie Cyber will be the following week, followed by Ingrid Kirst with Ingrid Kirst Consulting. So join us next week and the weeks thereafter. Stay well, and thank you again for supporting this coffee.
Stay well, everybody.
You guys, we want to see our inboxes filled up. Send us an email.
You got it.
Thanks, Kat and Brooke.
Bye-bye. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.